Hey, Shalom YouTube. Elder Mitchell back in with another video. Straitway Truth Ministry. Um, Coming on real quick. Gonna make want to talk about this Pastor Tatum situation, as many of you that follow the ministry and also tune into the staff messages and scripture study, you've heard Pastor Dow put out an edict pertaining to Pastor Tatum that he's a marked man. Okay. And so, now from my understanding that, Pastor Tatum has made certain statements, or he is um, taking a stance, whether it's been on social media or to other people who are still listening and are a part of this very ministry, okay? So, in this recording, I want to come on and give you guys my take on this. You know, Many of you that may have heard Elder Rufus, he said, hey, I don't have to listen to the recording. I was there, you know. Um, but anyway, a few things that I took away was a Christian mindset, all right? And what I mean by Christian mindset is, they were once Christians. He heard the man, he heard Pastor Dow preaching and teaching. Got in touch with Pastor Dow. Pastor Dow went down to talk to these folks in Chicago a few years ago. And you would think over a period of time, you would hear some type of growth, some type of transformation in speech, and walk and talk, things of that nature. And so this is why I say Christian mindset is something that I heard off top. All right. Another thing is I don't necessarily know if he really comprehends or embraces the fact that he is held to a higher standard, that he will have the greater condemnation. And so you would think that as a leader, you have to walk more circumspect around the people because they're watching your every move. You're a leader. You are the example, if you know what I mean. And so it's almost as if he really didn't understand and comprehend that. All right. And as a pastor or as any leader of a group of people, there's certain situations that you should not allow yourself to actually be in. It shouldn't get to that point, if I could say that. All right. So this is something that I was taking away from this recording as I was hearing some of the things he was saying. All right. And then another thing I took away was the fact that he has never really truly been entrenched in the ministry. Okay. It seems in the recording that he had another mindset, but what you got to remember is you may see yourself as, I'm my own leader, I'm over here, I'm my own pastor, whatever the case may be. But when people are hearing Pastor Dow preach, and they're trying to reach out to you, or whatever the case may be, but yet they put you in touch, someone at Straitway puts these people in touch with you, it's because you're a part of us. They think, okay, they hit us up, Straitway up, because they want to know if somebody was in their area and they put them in touch with you. So they're thinking, okay, what's in the people's minds? They're thinking you're separate. No, I don't think they're not thinking you're separate. They want to know if Straitway has any people in this area. So they put them in touch with you. So you may think that you're not a part, but yeah, you are a part, or you were a part. Especially in the people's minds. Okay, I could see if maybe you out there preaching, teaching, and people were actually drawn to your voice, but they wasn't. They were drawn to what was coming from behind the pulpit at Straitway. So that's another thing I was taking away. All right. And you could tell that Pastor Tatum really was not very entrenched or heavily involved in the ministry, because you can really hear what was coming out of his mouth. You know what I mean? And this goes back to the Christian mindset, listening to what was being spoken. Christian mindset, all right? And this is without really having to go into any specifics of what the issue was, okay? And I'll say this, Pastor Dow and Elder Rufus was very patient. They were very loving in this and everything that I heard. They didn't just go with one side of a story. They actually say, but call this man and give him an opportunity to speak. And that's exactly what he did. Gave this man an opportunity to speak and go from there. you know what I mean, to state his stance, if you will. All right. And but anyway, once again, I'm listening to the things which are coming out of his mouth, and you can actually hear the growth or the lack thereof when it comes to growth. Okay. And this is after years and years of actually being in what we call the Israelite walk. Learn how to keep the commandments. You know what I mean? Learn how to walk this thing out truly. Learn even the spiritual aspect of this. Even receiving deliverance and things of that nature, receiving the baptism of the Holy Spirit, whatever the case may be. This is after all this teaching which we've gotten over these past few years. I'm listening still to the Christian mindset. All right. Um, Also, one of the things that Pastor Tatum used to always say um, was Honorable Pastor Dow, right? Or that Pastor Dow is his mentor. Well, if he's Honorable Pastor Dow and this is your teacher and this is your mentor, it would be safe to say that this is also your counselor, all right? And then so if he's your counselor, it would also be safe to say that you would, or you would assume, I guess it's safe to assume that a person would get with their counselor prior to making any decisions, especially important decisions that would either affect their life or the ministry going forward. You would think, okay? That's something else I took away. Uh, but throughout the conversation, he hardly ever answered anything head on, and he was not very concrete, whether it was in his statements or in his answers. All right, and this was, I can't really say a good example. I would say that this was an example, me listening to this recording of someone that was blinded or is blinded to their actions that they have taken. Um, that's I think that's the extent of it. This is someone that was truly blinded to the error of their way and the things which they did, and maybe even bringing about an offense upon a little one. You see what I'm saying? One of the size little ones. So it's something that we need to keep in mind. Also, and even in communication, um, so that you are held accountable or that you are held to a higher standard. Um, it's best to communicate in such a manner where you leave no room for misunderstanding. And there was room left for misunderstanding, if you will, by him. Okay, so at the end of the day, I honestly expected more from him. But honestly, at the end of the day, I can't say that I'm surprised. And this is based on the lack of involvement uh, in the growth of even his own church, ministry, our ministry, Yah's ministry, should I say. Um, so, but hey, I hope for more. I really did. But, it's very important for accountability, checks and balances to be in place because, let's say, for instance, um, sometimes some people are just at a greater level of maturity and wisdom when it comes to the word or the book, right? So let's say, for instance, or even let's say, you can take it in a carnal manner, right? You can even look just in the world, and you can say to yourself, "Hey, I'm thinking about making this certain. I'm thinking about, it could be a business move. Let's say, for instance, now you may speak to someone who is well versed and more educated and has more longevity and experience than you in this field, right? So you get with this person, this mentor, if you will, and they elaborate a little bit to you, and you say to yourself, "Man, you know what? I never thought about it that way." That's the reason for checks and balances. That's the reason for accountability. There may be some light shined on you. There may be some knowledge dropped on you that you really didn't think about, based on the wisdom and the experience, if you will. So, but all this is very important, man, because when you're a leader and you're up there and you're speaking and you're talking and you're teaching and you're preaching and whatever the case may be, um, we're leading. Folks are leading souls. You're leading souls, and um, you got to be an example to the people. You really do, and the people are going to take on your mindset. The people are going to take on your attributes. They're going to take on the same spirit that you have, and so it's very important that You know, we be slow to make any move, and we're quick to hear and listen. You know, really, especially to those who have gone before us, and that's just the truth. And more than anyone else, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard me say this over and over and over again, especially down here in this assembly, that I don't want to make the same mistakes that others make. I have elders and I have pastors that have gone before me, and I get with them. I get with them before I make any important decisions. I get with them, and it's not because I'm not a man, and I'm a man because I go to them. I'm a man because I get with them. To me, that's just wise. That's just smart. You know, and I'll continue to do so. So anyway, um, saints, get with somebody before you do something. Especially within the body that's going to affect you or others within the body. That will be smart. All right, and so this is the lesson which I took from this. Um, I, all of us are in this together. Um, the majority of the law and the Torah is predicated on us dealing with each other and how we operate with one another. We have laws that are for Yah, and how we worship and obey Him. But then we also have laws set up to where set up which regulates how we deal with one another, right? Um, so we would do well uh, to be around each other. Like the community is almost like the best way to do it. So reason being is because you with saints all the time. You with the body. You with the other believers at all times of like precious faith, serving the same purpose, having the same goals, having the same mindset, mutual assistance groups, and this is where the accountability can actually thrive at. You know, I mean, the Bible also tells us don't suffer sin upon your brother, right? In the law, well, how can you suffer that when you're disconnected? You're never around. You don't bring things forward, and you don't move slow, but you move quick to doing what you want. You make haste in doing anything that you want to do. You know, so I don't know. Anyway, like I said, I could keep going on and on and on, but that's pretty much my take on what I heard. Um, coming forth from the recording, and but man, saints be blessed. Love, desire, want instruction, want chastisement, uh, want rebuke. You know what I mean? Want it, love it, eat it up. You know what I'm saying? And righteous man loves judgment. So that's all I can say. All right, well, y'all have a good night. Shalom.